Dude, you're paying how much for neckties? This is Act My Age, lessons from a guy who's old enough to know better. I'm Brother Russ, and today I'd like to talk about neckties. Yeah, it's one of those things that once upon a time, back when I was young, just after the Earth's surface cooled, lots of men wore neckties. That was kind of part and parcel with a lot of jobs out there. These days, it's a whole lot less frequent. I mean, obviously, if you're in the trades and whatnot, you're not normally going to be wearing a necktie. But even a lot of people inside standard business these days don't always wear neckties. So what sense does it make to be spending big money on neckties? Because if you go to these, menswear stores out there, nice big brand names, maybe you're going to get a suit, particularly if it's one of those things like, you got a friend who's going to have a wedding, so you decide you have to wear a nice suit, so you go to the store. They say, oh, well, while you're here, you should get a necktie, and before long, you find yourself spending $80, $100, $150 for a fine silk tie. Well, that's great if, you're going to be serving caviar and you want to look really good. But for most of us, that's overkill. Now, if you watch the men's style channels out there, there's a few vendors out there that specialize in selling $30 ties and $20 ties. And they say it's really great quality and, they're decent. They are not a bad tie. My argument is that you don't have to pay that much for that quality of tie. Now, if you go onto the Amazon Marketplace, you can find similar ties, sometimes $15, sometimes $10, sometimes even a little less. And that's pretty cool. But you can do better than that. Now, take a look. This is just like a half dozen ones I own. Some pretty standard looking colors and patterns and so forth. I own probably 24 of these things because I had to rebuild a wardrobe. I was going into a sales position I'd never been in before. So I wanted a nice assortment of ties to go with various outfits. So I always had something that I could put on that looked new and different. Well, the thing about these ties are pretty much the same quality as those ones that you'll pay $20, $30 for from these various sellers. But I didn't pay anywhere near $20 or $30. In fact, most of the ties that I'm showing you right here came in at around $1, $1. That includes shipping from China. Yeah, so it's coming halfway around the world to get a necktie, which looks pretty cool, for about $1. How do you do this? Real simple. You go to eBay. You do not go to the buy it now area, go to the auctions area, okay? Now, most of the sellers from China and, the Far East will list these things probably about a week in advance, and they'll have a starting bid of a penny. Now, you see one that's a few days out, it doesn't have any bids, bid a penny, or bid 10 cents or 20 cents, something like that. Just sort of a placeholder thing. Sometimes you'll luck out and get a tie for under 50 cents. That is entirely possible. But for the rest of them, look for ones that are closing, within the day. Kind of maybe put in a marker bid to see how high people are. If it's going for 35 cents now, go to 55 cents and see if anyone jumps you. And then when you get close to the ending, snipe, which is what I always tend to do. If you're not used to sniping is waiting till about 8 seconds before the end of the auction and put in one bid for your best and final highest price. Win or lose. So if you're outbid, you walk away. If you're not outbid, you win it for that price or something less. And for that final price, $1, maybe $1.25, maybe it's really spiffy, $1.50. That's it. So you can assemble a wardrobe of these things. Like I said, I'd probably have 22 dozen of these things, something like this, and it probably cost me all of about $20, shipping included, from China. So for the cost of one of those $30 tie, $20 tie things that some of these menswear guys talk about, you can have an entire wardrobe of ties. Now, maybe that's not your thing. Maybe you're just going to wear a suit once a year if you're lucky. Well, fine. Get like 2 basic colors that go along with whatever the suit color is. A red tie of some sort is always a really nice option. And, then depending on the color of your suit, maybe something along a blue or something like this. But just hunt down for yourself a couple of those. Make sure you give yourself about a month for them to show up because it is from China. But that's it. You can save a boatload of money. And the last thing on earth you want is to be going to that menswear store, getting that suit, and they say, oh, let's get you a tie too. And you end up spending $100 for some tie that's going to be used 6 times in your lifetime. Why? Better this way. If this was a helpful video, please like and subscribe down below, and I'll see you in the next one.